What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is AkeemHaynes. I'm a two-time Olympian, Olympic bronze medalist, author, motivational speaker, and sports commentator. On my channel, we talk boxing, MMA, track and field, and of course, motivation and encouraging content. If this is something that you enjoy, then I hope that you subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. Abraham Nova versus Robeisy Ramirez, the co-main event of the Better Be Evan Joe Smith Jr. fight this weekend. Let's just get into this and let's talk about Abraham Nova. Supernova, right? Believes he is a star. He does not lack confidence one bit. If you've seen him in the ring, you can understand where that confidence comes from, right? 21 wins, 15 by the way of knockout. I'm sure Ramirez and his team have been watching tape on Nova, probably went back to his fight against the Filipino Puma pick, right? But I don't think it would be a fair assessment because that was Nova's first fight post Achilles tear and an 18th month layoff. So that was a bit of a rusty Nova, in my opinion, not the one that we know, right? But he went on to win that one. But if we go back to his recent performance, right, his last fight against Encarnacion, where he walked down the ring with big Supernova, right? That big mascot, that big mascot version of him, which was great marketing, by the way. He put together another spectacular performance in that one, right? He's a big 126 pounder. I'd be curious to see how much he weighs once they go back and rehydrate, because he's just a bigger fighter in that division, right? Now, Nova is a strong fighter. In his last fight, he was very patient, took his time to close the gap, didn't overcommit, didn't put himself in trouble, right? He used his jab, used his footwork, his tactics, and chopped his opponent down. He's a good body puncher, a good counter puncher where he needs to be. He's naturally an offensive fighter, and once he gets comfortable and decides to let his hands go, he's going to do damage, and he can do damage from a variety of different ways because of the combinations that he puts forward, mixed with his power and the traps that he sets and his tactical ability to bite you in. So you let your guard down, so you go for his fake, and next thing you know, you're getting countered or you are being set up for a shot that you didn't see coming, right? He's that smart in his game plan and that tactical as an offensive boxer. Nova is tough to plan for because he's not very predictable. He mixes things up in the ring really well. It's fluid, it's rhythmic, and he doesn't really miss a beat, right? He can fight from a distance or he can come in the pocket and bang, right? It's all part of the process of breaking a fighter down, so he can land his shots and impose his will. Now, some fighters are defensively minded, right? We look at Shakur Stevenson. We look at Floyd Mayweather, right? We look at Parnell Whitaker, defensively minded fighters, right? But there are other fighters who are defensively responsible. And to me, he falls in that defensively responsible part to me, meaning sometimes he lets his hand go a little bit lower than it needs to be. And he does get caught on that left side from time to time. He took a left hook against Puma pick, right? That wobbled him towards the end of the round. And he took a few uppercuts against Encarnacion as well. So he does get touched up, but he's responsible enough to get out of harm's way and slow the pace down, right? Use his jab to control the distance so he can recover and get back in the fight. He's very good at that. Now, let's touch on Robeisy Ramirez, right? Robeisy Ramirez is a great talent. Let's give some backstory behind Ramirez if you haven't heard much about him yet. This is someone whom I've heard trainers from different interviews saying that they kind of compare him to Vasily Lomachenko in some regards because of his amateur pedigree, right? Ramirez had a very successful amateur career. The Cuban fighters, man, in the amateur system, man, they are ridiculously good, right? A well-coached program from my understanding and what I've seen for myself. I really like the Cubans and how they build their fighters, especially in the amateur system. But he's a two-time gold medalist. In 2012, he defeated a fighter that we've seen in the ring, especially if you're into boxing, right? When Tugsnot Nyambayar, right? He beat him into win gold. And in 2016, in the semifinal, he defeated Akhmadaliev to get to the final. And in the final, he defeated Shakur Stevenson to win gold. We all know how good Shakur Stevenson is. Quick side story. But I remember in 2016, right, as I was getting my Olympic medal, I remember seeing him in the call room, right? I didn't really know too much about him. I had heard of Shakur Stevenson, right? Just because, you know, from the North American side, you kind of know about the North American fighters more than you would the international fighters. But interesting just to think about now as I reflect on it. But he turned pro in 2019. Lost his first fight against Adon Gonzalez, right? And since then, he's been on a tear, winning 9 straight fights, including a redemption against the guy that he lost against. Now, Ramirez is fast. He's explosive, a good body puncher, a very good counter puncher, impressive hand speed, and a good pressure fighter when he wants to be. I like Ramirez. He's a good fighter. He knows his skills and he sticks within his game plan and he fights his fight. And in this one, he is going to have to fight his fight. That's what he's going to have to do. I don't think he should fight in close with Nova. I don't think this should be a pocket fight. I think he needs to make this a tactical fight, setting up traps to land his shots, press forward in spots because he has to be careful. I haven't seen him on the scale yet, but based off previous tape and fights that we've seen, we have to think that Nova is the bigger fighter coming into this one just off weight alone. He's the bigger puncher. He's the bigger man. Ramirez has good pop, but he's not a puncher like that. He's got to be careful because when he comes forward sometimes and he tends to throw his hooks, it goes a little bit wide and he doesn't snap it back to cover up himself as quickly. And if he's not careful, Nova could end it with a check hook. He's got that much power in both hands. So I think in this one, Ramirez has to establish range. Use the jab early, constant movement, change of angles, controlling the cadence and the flow of the fight. Catch Nova when he's coming in and go to the potty because it'll be open, right? He has to use head movement and never let it sit in one spot where it's easy target for Nova and his jab, right? Ramirez has got quick movement, and if he can use that to his advantage, make the fight his tempo, his cadence, his rhythm, his flow, control the pace, and use that to frustrate Nova, get out of his way, and land shots of your own by countering whenever Nova comes too aggressively. If you can frustrate Nova around the ring, there's a good chance that you'll be able to outbox Nova and win this one on points. I'm not saying he can't win by KO because he could, but I'm just saying it's going to be a little bit harder to knock him out in this fight, in my opinion. So my prediction, this one, I'm going to go with Supernova to win this one. I just think the size and the power is going to be too much, along with the constant pressure that Nova is going to put forth, right? I think Nova is going to hit whatever target that he can see because Ramirez is quick enough to get out of the way, right? He's got good movement. He's got good footwork. He's got good defensive IQ, right? But I just think with power, every single round is going to be too much for him. And I could see this one ending by way of KO in the later rounds, right? But I also could see it going the distance as well, too, because Ramirez is just that good, right? But let me know your thoughts on this fight. Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comments section below. And if you've been watching this long, then do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.